Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become that confident leader and take your business and your life to the next level. Today, I am very excited to have Jill Lublin as my guest. And let me tell you a little bit about Jill. She is an international speaker on topics of radical influence, publicity, networking, kindness, and referrals. She is the author of 4 best-selling books, including Get Noticed, Get Referrals, and co-author of Guerrilla Publicity and Networking Magic. Her latest book, Profit to Kindness, went #1 in 4 categories. Jill is a master strategist on how to position your business for more profitability and more visibility in the marketplace. She is the CEO of a strategic consulting firm and has over 25 years experience working with over 100,000 people plus national and international media. Jill teaches a virtual publicity crash course and consults and speaks all over the world. She also helps authors to create book deals with major publishers and agents, as well as obtain foreign rights deals. Today, I am very excited to have as my guest talking about radical influence, Jill Lublin. Please welcome Jill to my podcast.
Thank you, Vicki. Glad to be here. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And as I mentioned to you earlier, before we got recording, that as entrepreneurs, we think about all the things that we must do. And we worry why we can't reach people. And there are people like you that know what to do if we would just reach out. So I love to have public relations type of people to talk about publicity and how can we get noticed. And you are going to tell your secrets today. But we're going to talk about radical influence. Before we get started, though, I always ask a very simple question. I always like to know, where do you call home? Where do you live?
I'm in the Bay Area in Northern California.
Oh, I love the Bay Area. I spent a great bit of time with California. I was a region advisor for Toastmasters, and even though I'm a Georgia girl, they assigned me to California.
Oh, that's fun.
So in 2019, I spent some time going up and down the coast there. And then that little thing that we had happened. And I did everything online. And that's really what inspired me to start my business, was because of the coaching that I did online. I thought, well, heck, I should just do this more often. So fun. But that's not what we're talking about today. I'd love for you to share with the audience a little bit about your journey that took you to where you are today, because it's not like that we start generally doing what we're doing today. And I would love for you to share, what was that like? What path, switches, and changes did you have along the way?
Well, I think like everybody, I had a bit of this and that and that and this way. But certainly I'm now doing what I love in the area of publicity and leading kindness circles. But it wasn't always like this. I mean, I actually started and I went to law school because I thought, oh, that would be a good idea. I actually really wanted to figure out how to help people. And I figured, well, doing it the legal way might be good. And then I went to law school. Well, didn't do so good there. I hated it. For my kind of I
Yeah.
call it highly creative mind, it's a tough place to be. So I actually started my career in the music business,
Ah,
and that was a lot of fun. Where I discovered my true talent, which is publicity and promotion. I worked at 4 independent record labels. That was
oh, wow.
terrific. Yeah, and really discovered honestly my publicity world of publicity, guerrilla publicity started in the music business because if you think about that, it's all about perception.
Yeah, true. Absolutely true. That's
So
pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah. From there, I got tapped on the shoulder to write my first book, Guerrilla Publicity, now in its 3rd edition. Super excited. And then it was kind of this wonderful roving momentum, kind of like a snowball, kept gaining momentum. And now 4 books later and a few compilation books too, I'm a happy camper and helping a
Mm.
lot of entrepreneurs really get their word out and create more visibility.
That's awesome. You know, one of there are 2 groups of people that I wanted to also add to my target because they need help being able to speak. And part of what I do is teach being more comfortable and conversational and speaking. And that's artists
Yeah.
and athletes, because both have these natural gifts and talents, but speaking doesn't always
Oh,
doesn't
that's
always work out.
interesting. Sure.
Yeah,
That
they're
makes
they're
sense.
happy to sing and but don't talk, or they're happy to, run down the football field, but please don't make me interview. So that's interesting. So you have 25 years doing what you're doing. And it's interesting. I think you probably, if you ask a room full of people, what is public relations, you may get all kinds of different answers. So, in your mind, as an expert, what is public relations?
Well, Vicki, the truth is, it happens from the minute you walk out your door
Yeah.
into a Zoom room. That's public relations. Out for coffee. That's public relations. Because here's the thing: wherever there are people gathered, you're doing public relations. You
Yeah.
just are. And I think if we begin to know this better and feel it in our hearts and be excited about what we offer, then what a wonderful way to generate more attention. That's one version of public relations and a definition is that it happens all the time. So
Yeah.
let's get conscious about it. Let's be purposeful about it. Yes, and it's also getting in media, newspapers, radio, TV, blogs, podcasts, all of the great things being on this wonderful podcast that make you be seen and
Yeah.
more visible. So that's media relations, and getting there is one of my specialties. But I just always like to broaden people's definition of it because I think it helps, and
Yeah.
I think it helps how people look at it.
I know I often get asked now in LinkedIn because I post a lot to LinkedIn, my podcast, and so they'll ask me a question to be responding to. And really, even though it's not an article, it's still out there for people to see what your thoughts
Yes.
are. And it is publicity, really.
Yes, exactly. It's all publicity. But the great thing about articles and radio and other media that people think of as media and public relations is that it returns you clients and prospects and expert authority and elevates your status that you can use it in marketing in all kinds of ways.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
And, I'm 66, so kind of old school here. But when I was growing up and I thought of public relations, I thought, oh, I have to write a press release. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, honestly, some of my folks are getting media attention without even writing a press release. Does a press release often serve as a communication? Yes. So do short emails. So do picking up the phone. Yes, picking up the phone does still work. Talk about old school. That's what's so funny. People go, wow, there's somebody on the other end of that line.
It's not a machine. Oh my God.
Yes. And you know what? It actually, funny enough, can actually break through the noise.
Yeah.
Sometimes doing the very things that people least expect, like picking up the phone and calling the newsroom and explaining why you're the right person for them to interview, can be a perfect thing to do depending on the news of the day.
Yeah. And one other thing, and I think Taylor Swift was is like a expert at this, but she always writes thank you notes after she's been interviewed. And the whole thing is we're trying to be remembered.
Yes.
And so I always appreciated that even as a young child, she got that.
I love that. And you know what's funny on my calendar? You know what it says? Write 2 thank you notes every single week. Handwritten.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wow, what a concept. I mean, I run a kindness circle. I just got a beautiful gift from one of the people in my kindness circle. Do you think I'm going to remember and love her even more? Of course. I mean, it just feels nice to be remembered and thought of. And I think for all of us, the art of the thank you, a connection, whatever it is that you can do is a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we are aligned with this next piece. You feel strongly about the message, as I do. So what is it and how do you create that message?
Oh, I love the message. And, you know, in my world, okay, so I'm talking about the world of publicity. I think it's really important that you understand media, what they need are experts who solve problems. So my media message, the formula is, what is the problem out there? I didn't ask what you do. I said, what's the problem out there? And then give 3 solutions because, well, people can remember and think in 3s. And it's easier, and keep it in 5-year-old language. Like, don't get complicated.
Yes.
Just be
Clean.
simple. Yeah. Keep it clean, keep it simple, right? You understand this because of conversation. Which is what we're having, conversation.
And it's funny, some of the meetings or conferences I've spoken at, and they a lot of times I get asked, and I think partly because I have an anti-aging wellness business too, I get asked to speak at medical places. Not a doctor, but anyway. And so I'm surrounded by academia a lot in the audience, and some of the speakers that are alongside me are researchers, and they're speaking in this super smart, if you will, language that half the audience may get, but it doesn't, even if they do get it, it doesn't make it engaging. It doesn't make it conversational. I feel like I'm just being read a textbook.
Yeah, no jargon. I would just listen. I got hired by this major scientist to talk about virtual reality, which we all know and understand more so than we ever have. But do we care about how the thing really works? No. We like to put the headphones on and go into our world and have fun, right? And I was supporting him to create a message that mattered and was interesting to people who are non-tech. And I think that's really important that we all understand how key it is to speak your message in a language that everybody can understand. And frankly, it's going to help you attract more clients because they're going to feel more comfortable with you, and they're going to feel that you get them. And I think that's a key.
Yeah. And you don't want to make someone feel less, less smart, less whatever. You want them to think, oh, that seems easy enough. I could do that. Because you always want them to think, I could do that. I'm not afraid. Confidence comes from courage, and courage comes whenever you do things that you haven't done before. So
exactly.
So you had here, we have skills, we have talent, we have all these gifts. Sometimes we don't want to really tout them, blow our own horn, if you will. But how do you use everything you got in your messaging and everything you do?
Yeah, thank you. And Vicki, might I say, please, my friends, I'm going to encourage you, take a next level up to here's what I know. When you have your message down, your confidence will be accelerated, and it will be easier for you to speak in the right order of a message that feels authentic to you and resonant for who you are. Just saying. Okay, so I want to say that to people. Using everything you've got. Oh, it's so fun because what it enables you to do is create more visibility. For instance, Hispanic Heritage Week. If you're Hispanic, that's a great month to get publicity. If you're Black, let's use Black History Month. If you're a Christian, let's use your being Christian and to the, like, for instance, one of my clients, she is a voice and business coach. She's a Christian woman. So we are targeting Christian women's magazines, women's magazines, and then the Christian market, right? So we got 3 places we can put her because of who she is, using everything she's got. And so I want y'all to think about what part of you maybe you just haven't been talking about, haven't been, like, for instance, a woman I work with, she's a business consultant. She has a son who's autistic. We use National Autism Month to talk about being a mom, being in business. How do you do both with a son who's autistic and take care of him too? You know, so that's an interesting story. People do want to hear about your story. Let's talk more about that.
And that's really important. And when we talk about the message too, you know, that's a lot of what I teach too, is how important it is to incorporate story.
Yes.
And I think it goes back to just what you were talking about, leading with the pain and the solution, rather than, you know, hi, I'm a Vicki, a speaker, trainer, coach. So talk a little bit about incorporating storytelling.
Yeah. So, you know, first of all, let's hear about your successes, right? You notice, even as I've been talking to you, I'm talking to you about some of my clients who have been successful and what they've done and how they've used it in different ways. I don't have to go on and on. I don't have to tell you every detail, but let's drop in some interesting stories about your successes, and using your successes helps you create the confidence in others that you can do that for them. And I think that's important too.
That is key. So do you have a secret formula for creating great media content and scripts?
Yes. Well, I did actually give it to you. The secret sauce, which is to give the problem today and then give solutions. 3, keep it simple, 5-year-old language. That's the secret sauce and the formula.
And that was worth repeating for those that weren't paying attention earlier.
That's right. That's right. And by the way, speaking of which, Vicki, that's a great tip, is to make sure that you do repeat your most important pieces. You don't have to repeat it word for word. But the truth is, people listen in different forms, in different ways, especially on Zoom. So I find some things are worth repeating.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Time is flying by. I do want you to spend a little bit of time talking about your latest book. What is the premise of it and why did you write it?
Well, I think you're talking about The Profit of Kindness, because we did also just release 3rd edition of Guerrilla Publicity. So super excited about that. But let me tell you about The Profit of Kindness. So, you know, it was one of those happy accidents, because one of the women that I helped take care of in her aging journey, she'd been my friend over 30 years. She's now passed on, but frankly, during our time together, I would do all kinds of things for her, including, you know, taking her for nice lunches, running her to the doctor. I was the first one she called if anything happened. And we always have time for kindness, don't we? At least I do. So one day I was driving her to the doctor, and she said, you know, Jill, you are so kind. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we had a new currency? She said, the currency of kindness.
Oh,
and
nice.
What a great book title. And in fact, what was so fabulous is she was alive when my book came out, and we had a book signing at Barnes and Nobles, and I was able to honor her as the inspiration for this book. Her name is Gloria Wilcox. What a blessing for me, and to share that with her and to celebrate. But really, that's how it started. And then what was so interesting is my publisher said yes, and the book came out really fast, which is also unusual. It was like just everything was destined, and in a perfect timing and a perfect moment. And then I started these kindness circles, monthly kindness circles. They're completely free. People come on, we spread kindness, we create wonderful connections with each other, and we're doing business in kindness, which is what I think we all really need right now. And then here's the reality. I found when we were talking to kind companies that they have happier customers,
Yes.
better employees, that the CEOs were happier. And this was small companies too, small and large. And that guess what? Kind companies get more publicity. It all comes together.
And it really all ties to the theme, that radical influence. Sometimes you think, oh, you have to be some big, important company CEO, but really, kindness is radical influence. If you use it, it can change. It can move mountains.
Amen, sister.
Yeah. Oh. Well, it's time now, those of you that are just listening, to run quick, get that paper and pencil, because I'm going to share my slide that has contact information. And I know we've told you need publicity help, so you all will want Jill's information. So go grab that real quick, but everything will be on my YouTube channel, Vicki Noethling. Please subscribe, as well as my findyourleadershipconfidence.com. But for those that are listening right now and you've got that pen, paper, it is Jill Lublin.com, JILLUBLIN.com. And Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn is her name, so JillLublin.com. Twitter, she has a capital J and a capital L in Jill and Lublin. Okay? I'm going to turn it over to Jill to talk to you about her call to action, what you can find on her website, and some great free things she has for you all. Jill?
Absolutely. So I very much look forward to helping you with your visibility and getting out there and elevating your trust. And to that end, I've created an action guide for you filled with simple to-do PR tips that you can implement immediately. You go to publicitycrashcourse.com/free gift. And right there, I invite you also to a free publicity masterclass, live and interactive with me, where you get to ask all the questions that you need and get the support in publicity right there, right then, live and interactive on Zoom with me. Also, I'm inviting you to my kindness circles, JillLublin.com/kindness circles, where we, as I mentioned before, come together in kindness for an hour on Zoom, live and interactive, and actually go into networking circles and support you with a fun interactive sessions the whole way through that I know you're going to love. So I look forward to seeing you and to supporting you, and to know for each one of you that your message matters. Yeah. Time to get it out there.
Awesome. Well, Jill, this has been just wonderful. We have just touched the surface of what people need to know. So I hope everybody will go to that website, take advantage of that free masterclass. I think that it's going to be maybe life-changing for you. So definitely do so. And remember to be kind in life. It's so easy to be kind. You just have to be the first one to do it, right? Don't wait for somebody else. All right. It's my pleasure to have you as my guest, Jill. I hope we can do this again. And as always, I remind my audience and you, life is a journey, and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling, signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.